Isang paalaala, ang susunod na kabanata ay naglalaman ng mga salita at pahayag na maaaring magdulot ng takot, pangamba at pagkabahala sa mga nakikinig, lalo na sa mas nakababatang gulang. Huwag magpatuloy kung kinakailangan. Welcome to episode 287. Ako po si Earl, ang inyong campmaster. At ito, ang Santelmo Society segment ng Philippine Camper Stories. Ang Santelmo Society ay ang listener's story segment ng ating show kung saan babasahin ko mga kwento mula mismo sa ating mga tagapakinig. Last week, I asked for some donations for people who were affected by the earthquake in Cebu. Nakakuha po tayo ng 10,000 pesos and it was donated to Angat Buhay Foundation because they actively help out people, not just in Cebu but to other calamities and challenges as well. I'd like to say special thank you to Admin Jack, Admin Gail, kay Sairah, and kay Efren. Thank you for keeping your hearts open to our friends and brothers and sisters of Cebu. With that being said, let's go to the featured stories for tonight. Sairah went to her scout camp during one night, and while everyone was busy during their school chores, someone uninvited decided to scare off the entire class. Pakinggan natin ang kwento niya. Hello, Campmaster Earl. Thank you for hearing out my story. I'm not a very good storyteller, but I hope my story sounds linear enough and it makes sense. I've been listening to your podcast since the onset of the pandemic. While I don't have active senses towards paranormal and I don't have a strong inclination in digging deeper into what lies ahead, beneath and within the spiritual realm, I believe in their presence. This story I'm about to tell you is my first and last encounter. This happened back when I was in high school in Olongapo City. We had a Girl Scout event that required us to stay at a campus overnight. We stayed in our homeroom. Basically, yung lugar papunta doon sa homeroom namin is like this. From the school gate, a few steps from the guard post on the right was a stretch of classrooms. Our room was the second room from the end of the corridor. Katabi ng room namin is a faculty room. Then after the faculty room, there are sets of stairs that go up to the second floor. 2-story lang yung building namin sa side na yun ng campus. Tapos, each room has its own bathroom. Sa room namin, nasa far end corner yung bathroom. It's got its own sink and a tap sa medyong ibaba for the bucket. At that time, mga 6 p.m. pa lang, madilim na. As we were gathering the ingredients we needed for dinner, biglang nag-blackout. I think this was around 6:30 p.m. Luckily, we brought a torch and some candles. Sinindihan namin sila, then we continued with what we were doing. To be honest, kinakabahan na ako ng mga oras na ito. I remember the girls were saying na bilisan na, I guess, so we could have it over and done with. My task was to peel and dice potatoes na isasama sa corned beef. Nasa labas ako ng homeroom na ito. Nag-set up kami ng table there kasi para hindi masikip inside. While I was doing it, I overheard na parang medyo may issue sa bathroom. A few of the girls were discussing and I overheard na medyo may fear sa conversations nila. I could hear statements like, "Ikaw na lang kumuha ng tubig, ayoko nang bumalik sa CR." In a while, sabi ng isang girl habang she was rinsing the rice sa may sink, may nakita daw siyang older woman and a little boy standing by the door ng bathroom, which she ignored. Kahit nagulat at natakot din siya. Upon learning this, syempre natakot ako given na wala pang kuryente. But frankly, and at that time, I wasn't sure if I believed in ghosts, given na never ko pa siya na-experience before. Just before we had dinner, we arranged the chairs na naka-pushed in sa walls to make a large space sa gitna where we will lay down our sleeping bags kasi doon kami matutulog. Tapos, we stack our bags in the chair on top of each other. Mga few minutes later, I heard someone say, "Guys? Ano yun?" I could hear the tremble in her voice, tapos parang all of us knew where to look, and sa shadow, parang may babaeng nakaupo na long hair sa corner ng room. Pero parang mga seconds later, nag-deform siya at naging silhouette lang ng bags. I can't remember what happened next, but alam ko the power went back on, so natuloy yung concert by music students sa garden, just opposite lang ng homeroom namin. I think around 9 p.m. na ito. Nakaupo lang kami sa lawn, but something kept drawing my eyes to look at the second floor. Parang may magnet na humihila sa eyes ko to look at that direction. Wala naman akong nakita na kakaiba. But I overheard a girl in front of me telling her friend beside her that she could see someone who was just standing there sa second floor, facing us. And parang babae. It was too dark so hindi niya masyadong nakikita. I suddenly felt a massive onset of a headache that I didn't get to finish the concert. I went back to the room with a friend. I took some meds and decided to sleep it off. My friend who went back with me decided also to turn in early. From memory, we left the lights on. I think I was able to sleep a bit, then I woke up thinking, bakit ang ingay? Parang medyo inis pa nga ako noon thinking na, hindi pa ba kayo pagod? Ang dami niyong energy. I still haven't decided to open my eyes at this time, but I heard a lot of people chattering and laughing. Pero yung laugh, parang pang bata na naglalaro. Like maybe early primary school level yung voice. When I opened my eyes, the lights were out. And perhaps only a nightlight was on. Or baka ilaw from a mobile phone lang. Nagtaka ako kasi all of the girls were inside na, but none of us were talking. But we could still hear a lot of laughter coming from the corridor outside, loud enough as if they were just outside our room. Nagtitinginan lang kami and we all looked afraid. One of us braved enough to open the door, and when she checked, no one was outside. Tapos, biglang nawala yung tawanan. Syempre, we're all freaked out. By this time, we all refused to sleep. I remember I was praying as I was really scared. But when I checked the time, mga past 1 a.m. na yata, when I heard a faint kalabog. Parang someone let off a metal ball and it was bouncing slowly. Tapos the sound became louder and louder na parang papalapit sa amin. Tapos biglang may kasamang ibang tunog like a chain. Parang may hinihilang bakal. It became so loud that we thought it's coming from upstairs and going down the stairs. Parang it sounded like someone was dragging a ball and chain while going down the stairs. Finally, someone said, "Guys, naririnig nyo ba yun?" Then we silently nodded. A girl shouted, "Uy, si Ana!" Not her real name. "Nagsisleepwalk." Then we saw her walking towards the door, and just when she was about to open it, someone yelled, "Buksan niyo yung ilaw." Which someone did, and the sound stopped. I don't clearly remember what happened next, but alam ko lang we had to get up early for morning ceremony and at the open field. None of us dared to talk about what happened. To date, I don't think I've ever spoken about this with anyone from that night. Thank you once again, and more power to your podcast. God bless you always. Sairah. Hello, Sairah. Thank you for sharing your school ghost story. There's always something interesting in high school stories, especially when you have to stay overnight in a campus, right? Ito kasing age na feeling natin ang mature na natin at piniyagan na tayo ng mga parents or guardians natin na mag-spend ng time away from our homes. Tapos, you get to spend time pa with your friends. Nakakatakot naman kasi talaga ang mga schools kapag gabi kasi nga lahat ng school ay dating sementeryo. Alam niyo yan. I remember during my high school in Malolos, Bulacan, nagstay kami for a vigil sa Basilica Minore ng Malolos. It's one of those Catholic things. We didn't actually fall asleep. We were just there sa church. Yung isa sa mga kaklase ko, and I only knew this later, sabi niya may nakikita daw silang extra pair of shoes and feet sa pew o yung upuan sa simbahan. Buti na lang wala ako doon nung nangyari yun. Anyway, thank you Sairah sa isang matinding throwback mo dun sa nakakatakot na babae sa school niyo. Magbabalik pa tayo for other stories from the campers. That and more coming up next. We're back in Santelmo Society ng Philippine Camper Stories. Our next story is from Emma at ito ay tungkol sa kanyang solitary and peaceful living in a condo in Bacolod City. Nice views, great neighborhood, and perfect for her lifestyle. Until the day her home became haunted. Pakinggan natin ang kwento ni Emma. Hi Campmaster, I've been a fan of your podcast since 2024 and I'd like to share this experience with you and the campers. I hope you keep me anonymous, but please call me Emma. I'm 27 years old and I'm from Bacolod City. To start off, there are a few things I'd like to share to set the stage for all of this. First, I'm an atheist. This means I still consider myself as spiritual, but I don't believe in the supernatural. Ghosts, gods, etc. are nonsense for me. Second, all my life, I have never experienced a haunting until now. This might be a long one, but here goes. It all started when I decided to buy my first property on December 2024. I won't specify, but it's located at a condominium along a major highway in Bacolod, right beside the mall. It's one of the first condos in the city. It's over a decade old, but still well maintained. It took me a few months for home hunting, but I fell in love with the unit the moment I stepped into it. It's a studio with balcony on the top floor. Had tall sliding windows that framed the busy city skyline. To my right, the sunrise, dousing Mount Mandalagan and Canlaon in peach and pink. And to my left, the sunset, fishing boats softly bobbing on the calm waters, warm tangerine clouds frame Panay Island from the distance. The best part? I had the place all to myself. And I had no neighbors on either side of my unit. Living here was a dream, and I have never felt more at home in my life, or at peace with my solitude. It was almost perfect. Almost. Until February 2025. I was in solo living bliss when strange things started happening. First, the door locks. Since I live alone, I built the habit of always locking my door, but every time I did it, it would later creak as if someone was attempting to open it. It wasn't a loud or violent commotion or anything like that, just a soft click and a twist of the knob. I shrugged it off, thinking maybe it was just an adjustment with the locking mechanism. Then, there came the missing items. I would distinctly remember leaving items in a specific place, only to find them in a different area. A tumbler, a charger, a phone, water heater, a vase. Again, I shrugged it off. Maybe I was just too tired, or it was just my memory betraying me. Until it escalated. I was taking a shower one night when I heard a loud crash in the kitchen. Naked and still dripping from the bath, I ran to the noise, only to find the kitchen cabinet opened wide, my glass pitcher shattered on the floor. It made no sense. Why would my pitcher fall from the cupboards? I kept it organized and it wasn't filled to the brim or anything like that. Who opened it? Strange, but what can I do? So I just cleaned up the mess. That's weird, right? Fast forward to March, my pets started to sense something. I have 2 chihuahuas and they're usually calm, mostly just sleep throughout the day. But lately, they would stare either at the entry door or at the sliding door, growling or barking at nothing. Maybe 3 or 5 times a week at the random times of the day, 10 a.m., 9 p.m., 1 a.m., random times, they would make themselves seen. Then I started feeling like I was being watched, especially at night. I'm not sure because I've been uneasy because of those incidents before, but that feeling is there. Someone is watching me. I tried to ignore it, but the hair on my limbs would raise every time this happened. Chills crawling down my spine. I even avoid looking at mirrors for too long now. On the vanity, the bathroom. I also have this huge 7-foot mirror in the living room. I covered it up with a cloth for a few days. Not sure what happened. Sometimes I'd also feel like there was an earthquake. This would only happen whenever I sat on the armchair that I thrifted upon moving in. It's hard to explain, but it was a slow shake. It was noticeable enough that the first few times this happened, I grabbed my dogs and laptop and rushed to go down to the fire exit, only to realize that no one else was leaving their units. So I stayed at the hallway for a few minutes, waited to see if anyone else would leave the room. No one did. This happened often enough that I finally asked my doctor about it during my last checkup. Maybe I had vertigo? I didn't know. Then one night, it happened. I was on the bed and I saw a dark figure sitting on the armchair beside me. At first, it was motionless. Then I started leaning in, floating above me, its face a few inches from mine. It was smirking from ear to ear, running its tongue across its cracked lips, its sharp teeth bare, glinting in the moonlight. Then I started laughing. Then it started laughing. It was a mischievous laugh, taunting me. I screamed. Then I woke up in cold sweats. I was an insomniac ever since I was young and I rarely had dreams. But when I do, it's usually lucid. And I usually can tell if I was dreaming. I could even choose and force myself to wake up if I wanted to. But this was different. It felt real. It's hard to explain, but I didn't need to force myself to wake up. It felt like just a continuation of our reality. Our current timeline. I left my room and stayed in the lobby for the rest of that night. Looking back, I wonder what kind of creature that was. Was it an entity? Or was it what believers called a demon? I don't know. I don't even believe they exist. All I know is that my fear is real. A few days later, I realized that it was the very chair I sat on that was shaking and moving. It was as if someone or that entity was trying to rock the chair while I was sitting on it. I still couldn't wrap my head around the image until now. I threw that chair away the very next day and I realized this. Finally, the last straw happened about a week ago. It was around 2 a.m. and I was like walking towards our garbage area to take out the trash. It was just on the opposite side of the condo, around the elevators. At normal walking speed, it would take me about 2 to 3 minutes to complete this task. I was already on my way back when a commotion erupted from my room. It was loud. Bang, thuds. My dogs berserk and barking wildly, and I sprinted into my room. My condo was trashed. My duvet and pillows off the bed, skincare products strewn across the floor, books off the shelf, my coffee table toppled over, and my glass lamp shattered across the floor. And the first thing I felt was dread and that horrifying feeling of someone was watching me. I screamed. I've never experienced that kind of fear in my life. I grabbed my dogs and my keycard and took the elevator to the ground floor. I told security what happened. I wasn't crying, but it was the most upset I've ever been, breathing heavily on the verge of tears. Not sure if I was having a panic attack, but it was the first time I felt that way. Security accompanied me back to my door. There was a small crowd in front of my unit, neighbors in pajamas asking about all the commotion. They checked my unit and helped me clean up. My dogs and I stayed at the office on the ground floor that night. We checked the CCTV and no one entered my unit. No intruders, nothing. Even the guards admitted that it seems impossible for my chihuahuas to create a kind of rampage, especially within a very short window of time. And that's when I told them about the dream I had of that entity. They said there were no reports about such entities in the condo, and I don't know what to do. I consider reporting this to the police, but what can they do? I love this place. It took me 2 years to save up and months to find unit. And honestly, this condo has one of the best locations in the city, with the best views. It's hard for me to just give up the place. I even considered bringing a religious worker over to cleanse the space, but then again, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in that stuff. Just considering it due to culture and tradition. Maybe all of this is just psychological. Maybe I was just stressed with transitioning from being a freelancer to an agency owner. Maybe I need to see a psychiatrist soon. Maybe that dark entity is simply sleep paralysis. Should I sell the place? Or should I wait to have this cleansed first and see what happens? This is the main reason why I opened this up to you and the campers. More opinions would help me make an informed decision. What do you think? Thank you for sharing my story. More power to you and your show, Campmaster. Wishing you all the best. Hello, Emma. Thank you for entrusting this story to Philippine Camper Stories. I know it's a challenge because you have two contrasting concepts. Your atheist beliefs and the strange phenomena happening in front of your eyes. When I saw that you thrifted the chair, tumunog agad yung mga chime bells sa utak ko. Alam naman natin na mga segunda manong gamit ay may mas mataas na chances of being haunted. Now, what are forms of cleansing that you can do for thrifted items? Physically washing them under running water. You can smudge or smoke them out using incense. Or say your intentions to clear off the item on negative energy. Ang sabi din sa Campers GC, i-weigh mo din kung ano ba ang mas mahalaga sa'yo. Yung magandang view or yung mental health mo. Kasi obviously, this is a problem to you kasi nga atheist ka. Ikaw lang ang makakasagot niyan, Emma. Campers, let's help out Emma by giving comments on the Spotify section or in YouTube comments para sa mga more tips on how to handle his case. Thank you. Another camp, another story. Pakinggan naman natin ngayon ang kwento ni Lara Ella. Hi, I'm from Albay, Legazpi. This is my second story to talk about camping. Before I began to tell the story, I just wanted to say hi to Sir Earl and that I listened to his podcast. I can't exactly remember what year or month that I started to listen to this podcast. This happened around February 15, 2025. My family, my relatives, and I went to the campsite in Masaraga in Ligao, Albay, Philippines for 2 days and 1 night, February 14 and 15. I couldn't sleep there at that time. I think I've fallen asleep at around 12. I'm the type of person who would rather sleep inside a tent than a wooden cabin. The reason why it depends when it comes to the type of the woods is that my younger sister, my brother-in-law, and my older sister sleep inside a cabin, while me and my parents sleep together in our old tent, while my 2 relatives, without their 3 sons, and my older cousin's sister are not there with them. Beside the other tent, that it wasn't theirs. The rain started falling and the 3 of us got wet after the water leak inside our old tent that we bought in 2013. Back to my story, Mom and Dad decided to sleep where my younger sister slept, while my sister and my brother-in-law slept on the first floor near the small kitchen. I found it hard to catch some sleep, and as you know why I hate this kind of woods. Take note, there are 4 beds, and I couldn't tell what kind of bed are these called. That's when I realized an eerie voice coming from the second floor. On the second floor, you could totally see the door and the long wooden chair, more like a living room. The right side is the bed, a small kitchen, and a comfort room. The 2 eerie voices that I heard wanted me to sleep. It's a woman's voice, because I'm sitting in the bed while staring at the door, as if I'm lying down on the bed beside my younger sister. I tried to think positive and sleep peacefully, but it's actually hard, so I waited when my mom and dad woke up. Good thing that I brought my book to read. In the end, I didn't sleep. That's the end of the story. Hello, Lara, Ella. Thank you for sharing your story. I'm not sure what happened to your experience, pero from the story, parang may narinig kang boses na gusto kong patulugin. I think that's very hospitable nga ng mga multo, di ba? I'll keep it short na lang, and I hope you're safe. Thank you for sharing your story. The last story is coming from a solo traveler that happened to be stopping by Boracay. And this is Ken. Let's listen to his story. Hi Camp Master, ako nga pala si Ken. Matagal na akong nakikinig sa podcast mo at iba pang mga horror-themed podcast dahil sa interesado ako sa paranormal world dahil na rin bukas ang third eye ng nanay ko. Kaya lumaki kaming nakakarinig ng mga paranormal experiences niya mula pagkadalaga. Anyway, ang kwento ko ngayon ay nangyari noong December 2022 sa Boracay. Right after that experience, gusto kong ipasa agad sa'yo itong story pero tinatamad akong isulat kaya umabot na ngayong 2025 at talagang pinaglaanan ko ng oras para gawin. For context, avid solo traveler ako since 2022. Western Visayas ang binisita ko at ang last stop ko noon ay sa Boracay. Since second time ko na dun, overnight lang ang ginawa ko since wala naman akong ibang maisip at trip gawin bukod sa i-enjoy ang magandang dagat. Pagkarating ko, nag-check-in na ako sa hotel na binook ko. Yun ang napili ko kasi nag-promo siya. At nakita ko na siya nung unang punta ko at nagandahan talaga ako doon. Hindi siya beachfront pero within 20 seconds of walking, nasa beach area ka na. Modern din ang design nito kaya hindi mo isiping may kakaibang mangyayari. Noong gabing yon, nag-buffet dinner ako sa restaurant ng isang sikat na hotel chain kasi meron silang scallops. Kaya syempre, yun ang tinira ko. Masasabi ko na above normal yung busog ko pero hindi naman to the point na feeling ko sasabog yung tiyan ko. At saka naglakad-lakad ako nung gabi na yun pagkatapos para bumaba yung kinain ko bago bumalik sa hotel. Naligo lang ako, konting pahinga at natulog na around 11 p.m. Nanaginip ako noon na nasa lobby daw ako ng hotel kung saan ako naka-check-in At habang paakyat daw ako sa 4th floor, may isang lalaking semikalbo, naka-eyeglass at medyo malaman ang nakatitig sa akin at nakangisi habang umaakyat ako. Ang creepy ng pagkakangisi niya na para bang may masamang balak. Hindi kalaunan, naramdaman ko na may mabigat at mainit sa paa ko. Dito na nagising ang diwa ko pero hindi ako makagalaw kaya alam kong hindi ako nananaginip. Unti-unting umaakyat yung init sa katawan ko at nararamdaman kong dumadagan siya sa akin like legit na nararamdaman kong lumulubog yung upper torso ko sa kama. At ang huli ay umakyat hanggang sa mukha ko yung init. Hindi ito ang first time na bangungutin ako kaya pag alam kong ganito ang nangyayari, nagdadasal ako ng matindi sa utak ko while making sure that I mention Jesus' name several times. Maya-maya, gumaan na ang pakiramdam ko. Bago ko sinubukang imulat ang mata ko, inihanda ko ang sarili ko sakaling may multo o kung anumang elemento akong makita. Buti na lang wala. Inangat ko pa ang ulo ko at inikot ang mata ko sa bawat sulok ng kwarto ko para lang makasiguro. Nung mahimasmasan na ako, pumikit na ulit ako para matulog. Pero wala pang 10 seconds, naramdaman ko agad na dumagan na naman siya sa akin. Paa hanggang muka. Lumubog ulit yung katawan ko sa kama. At hindi ako ulit makagalaw. Nagdasal ako agad at nung gumaan na ulit, dali-dali na akong bumangon talaga. Habang nakaupo sa kama, nagsalita ako ng malakas at nirebuke ang kung sino mang demonyo o masamang espiritu na kasama ko noon sa ngalan ni Jesus. Chinek ko rin ang oras noon, 5:30 a.m. Nag-google ako ulit that time about sleep paralysis. As far as I know, isa sa causes niya ay ang pagsobra kang pagod. Pero hindi ko naman masasabi na yun ang dahilan dahil hindi naman ako ganun kapagod that night. Sa dinami-dami ng iba kong probinsya ang binisita, higit na mas pagod pa nga ako sa iba doon pero never naman akong binangungot. Ang alam ko din, once na naigalaw mo na ang katawan mo after sleep paralysis, dapat goods ka na. Pero yung sa akin, right after kong pumikit, agad-agad siyang dumagan ulit kaya hindi ako convinced na sleep paralysis yung nangyari sa akin. Doon ko naalala na nung first time kong pumunta sa Boracay back in 2017 as a solo traveler, binangungutin ako sa second night ko though in a different hotel and not as scary as this one. Napaisip tuloy ako, malakas ba ang paranormal activity sa Boracay? Despite its reputation as a party place, is there a darker side to it that nobody talks about? Of all the places I've been, bakit sa Boracay lang ako binabangungot? Ayaw ba ng mga espiritu doon sa akin? Nonetheless, hindi naman ito magiging dahilan para hindi ako bumalik doon. Unless na warning pala nila yun sa akin for any graver incident. Wag naman. In fact, dadalhin ko ang parents ko doon next week kasi bilang mabuting anak, gusto kong matreat naman sila sa travel since tumanda na sila nang hindi pa nakakapunta ng Boracay. May God protect us during the entire trip and God bless na rin sa iyo at sa lahat ng listeners. Laging tandaan sa anumang karanasang katatakutan, tanging ang pananampalataya lang sa Diyos ang magiging panlaban at sasagip sa atin. Thank you for the story, Ken. You're a generous son and an adventurous spirit. I don't think naman na hindi ka gusto ng Boracay. Like, I have always been telling, dreams and nightmares are most of the times gawa ng isip natin to help us process what happened through our life. Now, hindi ko naman alam kung anong nangyari sa'yo, but maybe going to Boracay really takes a toll on you. Kasi natatandaan ko din na hindi madaling puntahan ng Boracay, especially if you're on a shoestring budget. Yung sasakay ka ng eroplano, magbabangka ka, and then magtra-tricycle ka pa. Yun. I hope mas maging accessible ang pagpunta sa Boracay. It's such a beautiful place. Thank you, Ken. I hope your family trip was very enjoyable. And those are the stories. Dumayo naman tayo sa susunod na segment of our show. And this is called The Campers Shout Outs. Ayan. So, Ay, punta tayo sa camper shoutouts. So we're going to read some episodes comments sa episode 286, The House of Spirits. Sabi ni Kay, okay CM, di mo na ako mangungulit ng everyday upload, pahinga ka muna. Thank you. Rally Ranger, sabi niya, happy listening to all campers. Stay healthy CM, we'll wait for you this December. Halloween na guys, nagkabalikan na ba kayo? Hugot no? Sana nagkabalikan ang mga dapat magkabalikan. Ayan. EJA, it's really sad that the spooky or Halloween season is usually overlooked here in the Philippines because of the overindulgence of Filipinos on the Christmas season. Mumu season needs more love. Yan. Totoo, no? Kasi nasa pawa ng Christmas pero okay lang yan. Dito sa podcast, it's Halloween every day. Rio 17, sabi niya, Bingo Plus everywhere. Damn. Ayan. Ganun talaga, sumusuko tayo sa kapitalismo kasi kailangan natin ng pera. Pero, like the ad always say, just do it responsibly. Dave Villaseran, sabi niya, thank you CM for explaining the ads. I always listen to your podcast whenever I'm in the gym. I'll send my stories soon. More power to you. Thank you, Dave. Ruila and Mary, sabi niya, so agree po sa traumatic imprints of our taxes going to corruption lang. Kakalungkot, no? Si Kay naman, sabi niya, wow, it's such a shame that I always skip Manila and Anton's story just because I just want to listen to Earl's voice. But now I get them why Manila and Anton's story is at the top of the list. Anyway, it's 2025 na. Sana po yung story ni Anton sa Australia. Sige. Tanongin ko ulit si Anton. And baka naman meron na siyang bagong story sa atin. Sino pa ang nag-iwan ng mga episode? Si Rally, sabi niya, ay hindi, tapos na pala si Rally. Ralpy says, kakilig naman na shoutout pa sa intro. Assuming na ako yun. At dahil dyan, magsasubmit na ulit ako ng stories. Yan. Ikaw yun. Ikaw naman. Sige, send ka na rin. Sabi ni Sion, 4 or 5 years old ako. I saw a dog sa kapitbahay. Walang dog dun sa kapitbahay namin. Pero may big black dog with red yellow eyes na nakahiga sa belly niya. Nung nagkakitaan kami, tumayo siya at super laki niya. Great Dane in size, pero American Bully breed. Parang curious siya na nakikita ko siya. Natakot ako since my history of being chased by a dog. Hindi ako nakauwi agad at nagpasundo lang ako. Ayan. Nako, sana okay ka lang kasi naman, nakakatakot naman talaga yung makakita ka ng mga ganong kalaking dogs. Feeling ko kahit anong malaking animals pagka na nakita mo, 'di ba, parang in person, parang nakakatakot, nakaka-trauma. Ganun kasi nakita ko nung may nakita kong alligator in captivity. Parang katakot naman 'yan. Okay, last but not the least, si Hiraya Hima, sabi niya, hello po campers and Camp Master. Super nag-enjoy ako sa episode 270 since related po siya sa course namin sa college. It's good to hear other perspective or factors of the 1990 Luzon earthquake disaster. Our professor also has an experience during that time. Also, nag-internship kami sa Baguio and we can say that there was a huge impact sa mining industry. But now, thriving na ulit yung Baguio City. Or po yung company, but secret na lang po. Ay, secret pala. Okay, sorry. Marami pa rin po kaming stories doon sa place na tinirahan namin since panahon pa yun ng Americans. Itinayo yung place, but next time na lang po. P.S. Thank you, Camp Master. Wishing you good mood, good mental and physical health and abundance. 1999, Cherry Hill Subdivision landslide is a good topic din po. Thank you, Pacific. Pacific pala pangalan niya. Yun, maraming salamat sa iyo sa iyong shoutout and feedback. And that's it for our shoutouts. Kung gusto niyo rin ma-shoutout, all you have to do is leave a Spotify comment. Leave a comment in the Spotify section of this episode. Ayun, para ma-shoutout namin kayo next time. Ayun. At dito na po nagtatapos ang ating kwento for our campers na feeling mo ay good job ang podcast sa pagsama sa iyo sa araw-araw. Aba naman, pwede naman tayong magpa-coffee dyan, diba? Yan. GCash or PayPal is available. PayPal para sa mga nakikinig abroad, sa mga may extra dollars dyan. Gusto ko lang mag-coffee ng masarap. Libre nyo naman ako. And GCash for our friends locally sa Philippines. Yun. You can also check out patreon.com/campfirestoriesph for video podcast. You can also check out the YouTube kapag hindi ka pa nakasubscribe, and TikTok. Yun. And kung feeling mo ay may kwento ka na gusto mong send mo lang sa email campfirestoriesph@gmail.com. At feeling mo meron kang friends na magugustuhan niya yung episode nito, share mo lang. Wala namang masama, diba? Click mo lang yung share button para sa kanila and then send mo to. Yun. Sabihin mo, sagot ko siya. You can also stay for the ads at the end of the show kasi those ads keep our show running here for free. Anyway, panghuli, I think yun na yun. Yun na pala yun. Everything was already said and done. Maraming salamat pa sa inyong pakikinig. Magkita tayong muli sa susunod na kwento. Ako si Earl at ito ang Santelmo Society segment ng Philippine Campfire Stories.